Hi folks, how are you? Welcome back. Day 9, how quickly they are going. It's so nice to be back, another new 24 hours for us to learn more, to practice more and to notice more. So a couple of questions that's come up in the Slack that I've seen in your conversations, which I'd like to just address as a group, because I think it may well help you all. And today we're going to further explore the spinal C. So we're going to go through all of that with you again, the first and the third bends of the neck, the third bend of the lumbar spine, your lower back, and then we're going to introduce probably the whole movement today. So movements. The smaller the movements become, sometimes the harder that they are to do. We are so used to doing things without being mindful about them, without noticing what we're doing. And we're so used to hurrying and rushing through things that when it comes to the smaller, more intricate, the slower movements, actually they can be quite challenging, and this is part of your journey. This is part of you slowing down, letting go of that need to perfect, just see what happens. Remember, don't try to be too good at what you do. Work to 70% so you're not forcing and pushing yourself, and to really start to notice what you're doing. So yes, I agree with you. The smaller the movements, they seemingly are harder. So just enjoy, and actually there is a huge benefit to going slowly with your movements. It helps you to go slower in life. Remember, this is what we practice in our Qigong. This is beyond just an exercise. This is really training you how you can transfer the skills you learn in Qigong into your everyday life. Always remember that. It's the bigger picture. I also read that in the Slack that the comments that finding the neck movement a little tricky. So I'm going to go through that again with you today, see whether we can simplify that. And I appreciate that when we've broken the movements down, you might think, oh, what am I doing here? What we're going to do is just make it all one big movement today, so hopefully it will all come together for you. I'd like to introduce you to the rabbit warren, and more specifically, not to go down the rabbit warren, the rabbit hole. Because one single hole that we've all seen plenty of on our walks, this one simple little hole where the rabbit will just go down, leads to a vast network of tunnels. You can actually feel them when you walk over them. Have you ever felt that the ground gets all really, really spongy and light because of all the tunnels that have been dug underneath? When I talk about not going down the rabbit hole, I'm talking about where your mind goes. Because if you take a step into that rabbit hole, we can get lost within the tunnels, within our thoughts. And one tunnel leads on to another tunnel. One thought leads on to another thought. And before we know it, we are lost in our thoughts. We are just lost in this maze of tunnels. And I know it's easier said than done, me just sitting here saying, don't go down the rabbit hole. Well, how do we not go down the rabbit hole? Well, this attention training, all of this Qigong that we're doing and this noticing, the smaller movements, the slower movements, is helping you to pay attention. And in time, your paying attention will enable you to notice when you've gone down that rabbit hole to go, hey, I'm not going down there. I know what's down there. I'm going to stay out here. And how does that work? Well, let's come to the science bit now. I'm not a scientist, but having explored how the mind works and how this is affected through our Qigong practice, I found this really beneficial to myself, and other students have found this beneficial. So I'm sharing this with you now. The brain has two hemispheres, a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. And they are two completely different things, and they care about different things. The left and the right hand hemisphere are linked by well in excess of 300 million nerve fibers. And these nerve fibers communicate between one hemisphere and the other. 300 million is quite a lot. And these nerve fibers have a neuroplastic quality to them, which essentially means that they are trainable, and you can develop new fibers, new ways of communicating your left and right hand side of the brain. But why should we want to? Well, the right hand side of the brain is what I like to call the right here, right now. It's a nice, easy thing to remember. Right hand side of the brain is the right here, right now. It thinks in pictures, and it pictures the movement through our bodies. It gets information and seeks information through energy, and it does that simultaneously through all of our sensory systems. So what this present moment looks like, what this present moment smells like, what this present moment tastes like, feels like, sounds like. And the beauty of the right hand side of the brain is that it isn't separate with our surroundings. When we can bring ourselves into the right hand side of the brain, we become part of the bigger picture. We become part of our surroundings. We're not separate to it. Now the left hand side of the brain is a completely different place entirely. It thinks linearly, it thinks methodically. It's all about the past and the future. And it's designed to make this enormous collage of the present moment by picking out all the details and more details upon those details. And then it categorizes them, and then it organizes them, and then it wants to place them all into these compartments, methodically, remember. And then with all of that information, it then associates it with everything that we have experienced in our lives in the past. And then, because of that, projects it into the future. So it's where that constant brain chatter happens. It's that constant place where we start thinking about the future, what could happen, when's that going to happen. It hasn't even happened. We're creating these stories in our own mind, and that's all happening on the left-hand side of your brain. And it's this left-hand side of the brain that disconnects you from your body. It makes you live in your mind. It's that place that says to you, I am. So as soon as you hear yourself saying I, or you're thinking I, You're residing in the left-hand side of your brain, and you won't be connected through your body, and your mind will be well in this rabbit hole, well amongst the tunnels. As soon as you can start to pick up on the sensory qualities of your movement, start moving and feeling the thick air, start sensing the puppet movements, start feeling your breath and how the movement of your torso connects with your clothes. Feel the temperature of the air. Connect your thighs, the heaven and earth. As soon as you start using your right hand side of the brain, you'll start connecting more of your Qigong, you'll start living more in the present moment, and you'll stop worrying about yesterday or what tomorrow holds, and enjoying this moment now. And the way to catch yourself is when you start saying I. So when we know that, and we can remind of that, again, this could be a post-it note somewhere, and you could put, I don't know, just the letter I on a post-it note, just to remind you, am I thinking I? And come back to a sensory quality that will bring you back into the present moment. And that's the place we want to be when we're doing our Qigong, connecting with our movements, connecting with our body. So I hope that really helps. Okie dokie. So let's get on with some movements. So if you're standing, please join me standing. If you're sitting down, get yourself nice and comfortable sitting down. Remember not to use the back of the chair as a prop. Bring your bottom over to the front of the chair so that over the front legs, feet on the ground and parallel. And if we're standing, again, feet parallel. If you can, notice last week we were talking about taking your feet out a little bit because it was straining the knees. See where you are here at day 9. Always paying attention, always coming to each class, each day with an empty cup so you've got space to fill it. Just stand or sit in Wu Chi. So let's connect, tap into these sensory qualities into the right hand side of our brain. So connect the heaven and earth. Always paying attention to the legs and your connection with the ground, with your feet in the ground. Your roots, spread your roots deep down, far out wide, in front of you, to the sides of you, behind you. Spread your roots. Breathe. This is where we can feel the coolness of the air touch the rims of the nostrils as you breathe in. Notice that cool air go inside of your nose. As you breathe back out through the nose, notice how the air has been warmed by your body. You can barely feel the temperature of the air. notice as you breathe in, your belly, perhaps your chest a little, will expand. Notice how it presses, touches, connects with your clothes. I often burn incense sticks. One of the main reasons, not only do I enjoy the smell, but it actually tunes my awareness all the time. So it's one of those ways that I can tune into my sense of smell, pick up on the smell of the incense. Floating bones in your ocean body. Your thighs are like buoys, floating. Helium balloon, the head just gently lifts constantly, drop your chin, connect with your spine, which is the string, connect with your tailbone and pelvis, keeping you grounded and tethered. Always grounded, always tethered. Wonderful. Good, good. Let's ease into a shake. Gently, let's just shake the body. If you're sitting down, you might find it easier to shake limb by limb. Relax into your shaking. Feel it. Tune into the sensations, the wobbles, the jiggles, the wriggles. What parts can you feel move that you haven't felt move for a long time? Now let's see if you can get the shake resonating in your face. So relax your jaws, relax your cheeks, and as you shake, see if you can feel your cheeks wobble with your shake. Excellent, well done. So from the shake, we're going to go into the slosh. Widen your stance, transferring your weight from one side to the other, pouring your energy, nutrient-rich inner ocean from left to right. And just like the waves coming up onto the beach, going back into the sea, coming back up onto the beach. see this happening in your mind. Visualize this happening. Notice the I, as in yourself. Come back to the quality of your movement. How does it feel? Soothing, nurturing, calming. Good. Well done. And now we're going to transition to swing one. So as you sway, the empty side, the empty leg will come in just a little. Continue to slosh. Come back for a hip width stance. And then from your lower dantian, we go into the first swing. Soften your knees. Make sure your knees are always pointing in the direction of your toes. They don't buckle inwards. 3 treasures connected. Arms swing freely, wrapping around your body. The wrapping, that connecting with your lower back and your belly, helps to promote the flow of your inner ocean to those areas. Don't over twist. Feel the connection, the gentle spiral. Good. Remember, no big movements, nice, slow, controlled movements. Let the swing just generate itself. Through your body. Well done. And gently slow that down, nice and slowly. Just stand in Wu Chi, feel. Tune into your sensations. Well done. Okay, have a little shake out. Take a sip of water. Good, well done. So, let me take us back to yesterday. Recapping the first 2 bends we did, bend 1, bend 3, and then we're going to add in bend 2. So yesterday we started off with bend 3. Let me just show you now. Give yourselves just a couple of minutes break and then we're going to get back onto this. And please do that. Don't be tempted just to go through with it. I don't want you to wear yourselves out, okay? I know that there's that temptation sometimes. So the third bend, the lumbar bend, was where we bent the knees very gently. They went to the level of our toes, and as we did this, we tucked under. So we tuck under, and that was just getting that feeling that our tailbone was tucking under ourselves. But we have to bend the knees in order to do this. And this helps to create the lower part of the bend. If you imagine that what we're trying to do is create a very shallow C shape of the spine. The lower C is, so don't, it's a shallow C shape, okay? It's just a gentle tucking under. Good. Then we also explored the trickier of the three bends, which is the neck. And that's where we lifted the head, and at the same time as lifting, we went out with the head and we just rolled over. So do you, or have you ever been to one of those games? I'm talking, I've only ever done this once, and it was a long time ago, where you've got an orange underneath your neck and you're holding the orange, you're not allowed to use your hands, and you have to pass the orange to someone else and they have to do this to grab the orange. I hope you've done that and I'm not looking or sounding like a complete crazy man, but I'm sure even if you haven't done that before, you can try and imagine passing an orange to someone and holding an orange there. If you haven't and you've got someone you can practice it with, you might want to do that. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create this, get the neck to do the shallow part, top part of the C. So it's that movement. Let me again stand to the side to show you. I'll try and get close to the camera without losing me, but it's up and over and back. So that's all we're doing, is creating this sort of C shape, or the top part of the C shape. Okay, so let's try and do that together. Third bend, last bend, lumbar bend first. By all means, place your hands anywhere around your pelvis, pubic bone, lower back, just to feel what you're doing. Just relax your arms when you're comfortable with what you're doing. So bend knees, tuck under, and rise again with your thighs, but don't lock your knees. Good. Bend knees, tuck under, up, and again, bend knees, tuck under. Please don't force, okay? Please don't force the tuck under. Nice and subtle. Good. Okay, a few of those done. Now the crane neck, the heron neck or the turtleneck, whichever you prefer to call it, or the orange neck, let's call it now. So let's go and grab onto that orange. So head up, over and round, and just return back to normal. Good. Head up. So you're being lifted forward. So if you focus on the space, okay, focus on the space here rather than what you're doing with your neck. So focus on you rounding your chin over an orange. That might well help. Good. And once more. Excellent. Okay, shake out. Good. So that's revisited. Bend 1, bend 3. Bend 2, thoracic spine. It's the middle part of our spine. We want to link to the first bend and third bend. So again, we are looking for space. And imagine that we're working on the inside of your spine here. So not the outside, but on the opposite side, the inside of your spine. I'm going to stand to the side again so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to do bend 1 and 3 together, okay? So bend knees, tuck under, and at the same time, do your crane neck. Good, and back up again with your thighs straighten up, don't lock out. Good, bend knees, tuck under, crane neck, and back up. Bend knees, tuck under, crane neck, And what we're going to try and do is bend 1 and 3 together. That's what we're trying to do. So it's not bending, tucking under, then doing this with your neck. It's trying to achieve them at the same time. That's the goal. Occasionally you can put your fist in between your chin and your chest to make sure there's still space there. Good. Okay, that's wonderful. Take a moment, please. Have a break. I'm going to go through bend 2. As I bend 1, bend 3 and bend 1, I then want to create space here. So I just sink in to my whole torso. So it's this sort of sinking in, creating a C, creating space. If I were to lay on my back, it will be a very shallow bowl shape, okay? Creating this empty cup here. And then I rise and straighten everything without looking out. So the emphasis is to just soften your chest as if you are holding on to a ball and you're absorbing the ball into your body and your body's molding around that ball here. That's the shape that we want to create. Okay, so let's give that a go together. So we're going to bend 3 and 1 and soften the torso as if we are holding onto that ball. If you want to practice doing that to begin with, that's fine. That's not quite the movement, but it will give you that idea of creating this shallow bowl. Okay, so when you're ready, bend 3, 1, soften, and rise with your thighs. Straighten, don't look out. Good, bend 3, 1, soften. Rise. Again, bend 3, tuck under, turtleneck, crane neck, heron neck, hold on to that orange. Good, so don't forget just to soften everything. Inside of the spine is curving. So when you're down here, it should be this, feel internally this bowl shape. It's very shallow bowl. Space between your chin and your chest, tucking under. Good, okay, let's leave that just for a moment. That's the C shape. And it's going to take time to get used to. And of course we want to move on. So we will revisit the C shape again, but now you've got the essence and how to do it. It's a case of practicing it now, so it just becomes one smooth, fluid movement. Now, sometimes when we put the whole of movement 4 together, it helps some people to achieve this without overthinking it. Excuse me. Well, I don't know what happened there. I think somebody has tuned into my speaker and played their music through it. It's not us at home. Obviously, I'm teaching. Apologies for that. So when we come to soften the spine, we just want to create a nice, shallow, subtle C shape. And when we come to put it together, which is what we're going to do now, remember your C shape. This C shape guides how far you bend down. And you've noticed, actually, it isn't a huge amount. Okay, so this is why I teach this first, so it doesn't become you bending and pivoting from your lower back and wearing your lower back out. This is a really good way to create this springiness. If you imagine a C and moving that C into an I shape, and it creates this springiness, that's what we are looking to do. Okay. So with your hands out, hang out like a T. You can see here that my arms are, again, like a shallow bowl. They're bow-shaped. They're not straight out. As soon as I do this, I'm going to create tension. I'm going to last 30 seconds before I get tired. So if I do this, just let a plumb weight hang from my elbow. This puppet idea again, both sides. And then the hands are going to come down in front of us. Don't worry about doing what your C shape just now. We're just going to do the hand movement. And we're going to scoop. And your wrists cross, but they don't touch. We don't connect the wrists, but their wrists cross, and they just gently rise up. And the hands part away, creating this sort of semicircle. Palms turn, drop your shoulders, drop your elbows, so we arrive back to where we started, but we continue, we don't stop. Okay, so we move the arms and hands according to what we were able to do. Remember your 70%. So for some of you, if your shoulders aren't able to go up that high, this is your movement. That's absolutely fine, as long as it's enjoyable, comfortable. Lifting up, parting your hands, and down. Uphold the moon. So we're connecting with the moon. Good. Okay, so that is the arm movement. Now it's a case of linking in the arm movement with the C shape. Then we get the full movement. So with your hands out to the sides, and we hang out like a T. Sometimes I call this a T shape. When the hands go down, slowly start to go down right at the beginning of the movement, that going downwards is the going down with your legs, tucking under and creating your C shape as well. Okay, so watch for a moment. I'm going to go down, bend my knees, tuck under, create my C shape. So by the time my hands are about here, I have created my C shape. And then my hands just, wrists, lift up, I come out of my C shape without locking the body, and back down again. Good. And that's the movement. But it's that intricacy of what we're doing and how we're doing it that's important. Okay? Please be sure that this doesn't happen. So often when we go down to pick something up, we use the lower back as a hinge, which those of you with a bad back knows that that isn't good. So we've got to use the legs, strengthen the legs, so we've got the ability to go down and up with our legs. But not only that, now we've got the ability to use the spine. So it's creating this suppleness in the whole body. Okay, so be sure you're not doing this. It's not a big movement. It's a subtle movement. Okay, so let's do this together. Wu Chi. Let you hang out like a T. Good. Now go as slow as you can, just so we get the coordination right. Arms down, bend knees, tuck under, crane neck, hold on to the orange, soften, create that C. Now very slowly, lift from your thighs, straighten your spine, let the arms rise, part, turn your palms, make sure you haven't locked your knees. Good, now we're just going to continue. Bend knees, tuck under, C shape with spine. Lift with thigh. Hands come down, so the knees bend, tuck under, crane neck, Soften spine, create the C shape. Rise, straighten, don't lock. Good. Okay, so when you rise out of the C shape, don't be tempted to arch back. Lift from the deep core of your body. Lift with your arms, but don't be tempted to arch back when the arms rise. Feel your arms connected deep inside of your torso, belly, and it lifts you from the inside. Good, wonderful. Welcome to Uphold the Moon. Once more. Good. Excellent. Well done. Well done. It is a real whole movement. You're engaging your entire body doing this. So if you feel, cool, wow, that's quite tiring doing that, it is. You are engaging your whole body and your spine, and more often than not, moving places you haven't moved for a long time, and that's going to take a little bit of effort to begin with. But so don't appreciate the fact that you might find this tiring because you're opening up different areas of your body. So the breathing. There is a breathing pattern to everything we do, and we've got to remember to breathe. So when we are, the hands come down, ideally that's the exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now I'm breathing loud on purpose. Good, and let's relax. This will generate probably a longer inhale and longer exhale, which is good. We want to try and just extend the breath a little bit without forcing, okay? So if that's what you find that you're doing, you're extending the breath a little bit, then that's good. That's what we want to do. It is so easy to forget the C shape when you do this movement. And I showed you one of the things that can happen, which was this one. The other thing that can happen is you forget the third bend and you end up doing this and you stick your bum out as if you're going to go and sit down, and that happens. Now, actually doing that isn't necessarily a bad thing because you're engaging your thighs, you're not bending from the back. However, it's not this movement. The movement is to try and create space in your spine. So please try and remember your third bend to tuck under, and that would just prevent you from being able to go down too low as well. Well done. Movement 3. Welcome. Movement 4, that was Uphold the Moon. So now we're going to do just a few of each movement just so that we can keep recapping it and it stays within our muscle memory. So settle yourselves in. Let's just take a moment. Bring our awareness to the breathing. Hands float out. Discover your chi. Compress in the pole. Breathe in. Breathe out. Movement 2, flying hand. Movement 3, peacock fans its tail. Swimming through thick air. Puppet-like joints. Breathing in. Breathing out. And now you'll see that we'll be able to move into movement 4 quite effortlessly. So as the hands come out, turn your palms, hang like a T, go down into movement 4, uphold the moon. C shape, scoop in front of you, cross your wrists, lift with your thigh, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And just let your hands rest down either side of you. Do a mini slosh. Bring your feet in for a narrow stance. Let's close. Extended inhale. Extended exhale. Thank you. Thank you for joining me with these movements today. It's movements 1 to 4 that we've now completed. Tomorrow we're going to move on to the 5th movement, which is called Swimming Dragon. So let's head over to the live chat now. If you'd like me to answer any of your questions, now's your opportunity. Okie dokie. So, just skipping through all the good mornings and you guys saying hello to each other, which is really nice. And getting over your techie areas. So Christine, you hear the I, but where does the we reside? What value is the we? When you're connecting to the left and right hand hemispheres of the brain, when you hear that I, you are disconnecting with the we. So the we is the right hand side of the brain. That's where we are. We don't have any boundaries between our surroundings. So we are then connected to whether it is each other or whether it is nature. So the we resides in the right hand side of the brain, the right here, the right now, that connectedness. The I is that very solitary, isolated place that we reside, that it's all about me. So I hope that helps. I hope that, and the value of the we, well, there's great value in the we. We want to be connected. So it is, so there is great value in that. So therefore it is great value to train yourself to be in the right hand side of the brain. I hope that helps, Christine. Barbara, hi Barbara, and when standing in Wu Chi, I find myself moving slightly side to side. Is this okay? When you mean slightly side to side, if you mean a very gentle rocking, that's absolutely fine. Try also to, if it's just a side to side, to go backwards and forwards as well, so that you're centering your spirit level bubble in your lower dantian. So if you're standing there and you find yourself very if it's a side to side slosh that you're doing, then obviously that's just going to be too big. But if it's very subtle and you just feel yourself doing this very gentle, almost nurturing rock, that's absolutely fine. What that's going to help you to do is just to gently move your inner ocean so your legs don't over tire. So that's probably why you've naturally started doing that, and that's fine. Make sure it's not big, too big, and try, if you can, just to come backwards and forwards, and it, again, very, very subtle movement. I hope that helps, Barbara. Lynn, hi Lynn. When we close, is that also bending in a C shape, or is that bending down? So when we're doing the, come out there. So when we're doing the close, we're not doing the C shape then. Okay, we are bending knees and folding into the kwa. Okay, so when I do that, I bend my knees and actually I'm engaging my sit bones, so the bones at the base of your pelvis, as if you're very much like I've asked you to do in Wu Chi, but on a bigger scale. As if you're going on a lower seat, that's what you're doing. So you're doing, and this helps to open up the spine, lengthening it that way rather than lengthening it in a C shape. So you're actually squatting down, doing a little bit more of a squat than a C shape. Andrea, hi Andrea. When you cross your hands in Up Hold the Moon, does it matter whether they're left over right or vice versa? Good question, and a popular question as well. Eventually, alternate them. That's what we'll do. So not knock the table over. So ideally, I haven't introduced that yet because I thought it might be one too many things, but as you've asked, then I shall answer it. As we cross over, we can go my right over left, and next time I come down, left over right. Add that in later on. Focus on your posture first and the movement and the C shape with the spine, rather than worrying about, oh, was it left or was it right, or was it right or was it left? If you alternate and you end up doing it more right over left or left over right at this stage, that's not really going to matter. But as a fine tuning detail, we'll alternate it. Hope that helps, Andrea. And I think, oh no, we do have more. So that's fine, Christine, you're welcome. My body's saying a big thank you and a lot to consider, from Louise. Yeah, there is. You know, when we come to a practice like this and we do it intentionally, deliberately, mindfully, properly, there is a lot to consider, because actually we are learning to pay attention in a way that we have never probably learnt before, unless you have done some sort of meditative practice in your past, which is all about attention training. Then we've never really learnt. I mean, you know, at school, and I'd love to be able to take this into schools properly. I have worked with schools, but properly. That at schools we are, you know, children are taught, and maybe we've all said it, pay attention. Please, come on, pay attention. What does that mean? What does pay attention mean? You've not taught me to pay attention. You've taught me how to read ABC 1, 2, 3. You've taught me how to count 2 plus 2. You've taught me that. But you've not taught me how to pay attention. You're just telling me to do something that I actually don't know what to do. And now, whatever age you are, this might be the first time that you are being taught how to pay attention. So it is possible. Those neural pathways will get built. You will add to them, and you will be able to reside more in your right-hand side of the brain where you can pay attention. But as human beings, more often than not, we're residing in the left, and that's again part and parcel of the beauty of doing this. And yes, there's much to consider. Thank you, a nurturing rock. Good, yeah, I like that too. Audrey, your spine feels good. Good, I'm pleased, especially knowing the health conditions that you have. So I'm really pleased that the spine movements are helping. Please, please, please just go nice and gently at doing these movements. As you know, I came at this because of a very serious spine condition that I continue to live with, and all of these varied movements, and that's the importance. They're all the movements need to be varied. Life doesn't come at you in a singular way. It comes in all directions, and it's the same with Qigong. If we can learn to move our bodies and engage our minds in varied directions, it's going to help us to be able to navigate life too. So on that note, I look forward to day 10 and introducing you to the Swimming Dragon. Apologies for the blast of music earlier on. It's on I have a Wi-Fi speaker, and sometimes my neighbour, who likes to play loud music, I think probably accidentally tunes into ours instead. Apologies for that. But in the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.